this DC Anime Review. We're going to be discussing Season 1, Episode 3 of To Your Eternity, and joining me is Pooja and Doreen.
This episode was a mindfuck.
Yes, it was.
Well, when it gets to the end, that was totally messed up.
No,
I did not expect that.
This entire episode was a mindfuck.
Yes, it was.
It was totally
It threw us off because they threw off the order.
Yes.
The order is Orb, Rock, Wolf, Human. Not Orb, Rock, Wolf, Human, Wolf?
it's de-evolving back to what it was. But we'll get to that part when we get to the end. But
Exactly.
the beginning part, I enjoyed it. She gave her pet and March gave her pet a name at least.
I know.
I did love that. I love that she did give him a name, a title.
His name is Fushi or Fu.
Or Fu, yes.
Or
Yes.
Fu for short. Maybe Fuji, but call him Fu for short. Or Fu-chan, like food.
And he's a good boy.
Yes, he's a very good boy.
Yes, and the thing is, like, in the beginning, like, you know, I'm glad that she gave him a name, and then the part, like the part when they were taking her away, you know, like, to get sacrificed, the problem is, like, he didn't understand right now, he doesn't really understand, like, what was going on, you know what I mean? Because he's still, like, you know, he just see her go away, and he had no idea. Like anything, like it was like
Yeah, it's like when your pet is confused, like, where is my owner going? Should I follow them or should I stay here?
exactly, and that's what was so confusing because he's like he was kind of confused. Well, or he doesn't have no idea. I mean, he have really no idea right now until later probably he has some idea, you know. But right now, in the beginning when she was saying, "Oh, mommy had to go away" or something like that, is like, you know, kind of sad because she knows she was going to be sacrificed,
Right.
and that was the thing. And then, you know, Marsh's sister was willing to protect her no matter what. She was willing to risk her life for her, you know. And I was so right my theory about the bear that he was
The polar
god.
bear. The polar bear was their god, and you know that was the thing that they had to sacrifice a human for.
Exactly. And I was like, and then, you know, I kept questioning about this bear, like, why was his eyes so bloody and his nose?
Yeah, because they kept attacking it.
Yeah, well, now we know, because in the beginning, because I know this was the same bear, like, on the last episode, that kept killed him. And
Yeah, killed him, yes.
Killed him. And then you're wondering how, like, he's died so many times, and now I'm wondering, has he been repeatedly being killed by the same bear? And that's why he kept going back after this bear, and that's why the bear was all bloody looking like that. I think that's probably the reason that his eye, like, we were looking at the polar bear, like, okay, who did that to that polar bear when nobody could even defeat this polar bear? Like, you could see, like, he had a lot of arrows on his back, and he has these spikes on his back, but it's like nobody could hardly defeat him, especially like that one soldier, unfortunately, did not make it, and he became polar bear food, and he got digested. So
Yeah, I mean,
dinner.
it wasn't as bad as Attack on Titan. Like, Attack on Titan's worse.
Yeah, no, you're right.
True, that's very true. It was like really, it wasn't as bad, but still, like, they couldn't defeat this bear. And I had my theory. I was like, I believe he's the god that Marsh is supposed to be sacrificed to. And I was so right. I was like, oh yes, this is Okiguma, something like that. I don't know. I can't pronounce. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but I think that's the name of the god. Supposed to be the god that they're sacrificing to. You know. So,
But that's the only thing. So we don't know, we don't know really the whole story about if this is I don't know, the bear. I don't know. It's just something with it's just weird, like with the god, and like supposedly they thought he's the god. He's the one that's killing all these girls probably in the village.
Yeah, because I mean, when I know I'm skipping ahead a little, but when you see March about to be sacrificed, and they like they tie her down and stuff. You see like the remains of the other previous sacrifices, and it's like, damn, like you just see the bones. That's it. Nothing's left.
Yeah, because that was disturbing because you can tell that the previous one, like that, definitely was sacrificed to this polar bear, and all was left with bones, which that was disturbing. And you see a small little bones. It's not even a grown up.
Yeah, it's all these little girls that they kept doing it over and over again, just so that they could have good harvest or something, probably. Because usually when they a lot of the old ancient cultures, they used to do that, like the Mayans and all that. They used to do that where they would just sacrifice in order to have good crops to grow and harvest and everything. So that's probably the same thing that they probably do with their culture. They probably have it. That's why they were sacrificing all these girls to this bear, probably, that eats them, and they're gonna have good fortune.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like it's sad, but that's in their
that's their belief. Yeah, that's what they believe.
Yeah, that's what they believe in, that if they sacrifice their child, that they will get, the crops will be restored and all life will be restored and everything like that, and the God will be pleased, will be happy with them. They won't just cause natural disaster for them or something like that. So, but it was interesting. Like I'm just happy that Marsh didn't get sacrificed.
Me too.
Because I thought that she did, because the way like the scene went, and I was like, did she just get killed, or did like?
I thought the bear ate her. That's what I thought. And that's why when Fu, when he showed up, and he transformed back into the wolf again, and then he was fighting, I thought like maybe like March was like stuck in her jaw or whatever.
That's what I was thinking. Because the way like he kept attacking, and then there was a vibration on his fur. I was like, what was that about?
What was that about? Exactly. And then you saw for a split second like the wolf. He made like a sad expression, like I gotta help her, type of face.
Like it's interesting how, like finally, like his consciousness noticed something wasn't right.
Yeah.
And then some reason he had to fight this bear to protect the one who'd been giving him the
master.
The pear. It kept giving him the food. And it was so interesting how he kept fighting this bear, didn't give up on this. And
then everybody's shocked because like the wolf just kept on regenerating over and over again. Nothing can kill it.
Exactly, and that was really creepy because it's like it kept like his guts was coming out, and then it was regenerating back, like his like it keep regenerating.
Yeah, that freaked me out. I was like, ew, his guts was all over the place, and then it came back, and then he came back.
We've seen worse.
I know that's true.
We've
seen worse.
A lot worse.
Yeah.
Yes, if you think of like Berserk,
or Attack on Titan.
But the freakiest thing is the end more than this whole other part. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. But I know what you're getting to that point, because I know like the last episode when Marsh was actually trying to teach him English, trying to speak the language, and their native tongue. Like the first word she tells him is thank you.
Yeah.
And try to move his lip.
Yeah.
And that was very interesting how she kept practicing with his mouth to say thank you.
And that's what he learned towards the end. I'm like, I know it freaked you out, but
oh my God.
I'm like, no, like he's talking wolf now.
That was really super creepy, because that was like the first word he ever said.
That's his first word, yeah. That's his first word. So I'm guessing, like, this orb, because this orb is not really a wolf or a boy, this orb is slowly gonna learn things, gradually, and, like, pick up on things.
I think the orb, it's kind of like a baby.
Yeah.
It's exactly like a baby, because when a baby is trying to, like, before it walks, it crawls.
It crawls, yeah.
Before it walks. So it's interesting, this orb is like a newborn, like a baby trying to learn his first step, trying to learn how to speak, learn how to, be aware of his surrounding and everything and who's around them. And I think that's what's happening with his character, which he got a name now, Fu. Now that he's, the funny thing is that, like, he started as a rock, which they didn't crawl. He couldn't walk, he couldn't move.
I mean, a rock is a
And-
rock. It's
A rock is a rock.
I know, but I'm just saying as a metaphor, like it's like I know, like when you're, remember, usually a baby, they're not supposed to move.
Right.
When they're
yeah.
a newborn, they're
Yeah,
supposed
that's
to stay.
true. Even babies, they're like little tiny lumps.
But the only difference is not in like the one that's the hand supposed to represent like the parent that gave this thing life.
I want to see a face attached to that hand. That's all I'm saying.
I agree.
I agree. I wish we could find out, but I think he's supposed to represent the Lord. I think he's supposed to represent God or something.
I don't think so. I think
Oh.
that hand is most likely attached to a person.
It could be, but then what kind of person is he? Because he's not normal.
I don't
It's not
know. That's the thing.
gotta
We
be
don't
some
know.
immortal
I mean, I would read the manga, but no, I don't want to be spoiled.
Yeah, no. We don't know. Maybe he's good. Maybe he's bad. I don't know yet.
We
Well,
don't know.
We don't know. And then the thing is that Fu got to figure out what is good and what is bad, though, because
Yes.
right now he doesn't know yet about things that are bad and good. You know what I mean? He doesn't understand it yet. But I think that sooner or later he's going to see a big difference about that. Sooner or later he's going to acknowledge like what is right and what is wrong. So like I say, as a baby they start to develop and start growing. Like they start to.
But you start to learn from your environment, like whatever is around you and stuff,
Exactly.
and that's how you pick up everything. So that's what's pretty much what Fu is going on with him.
That's what he's going to be learning. So,
Mm-hmm.
should we get final thoughts going?
Final thoughts. Let me think. I'm glad March is not dead. I'm very confused in this order of the wolf, and from the boy to the wolf. And so I guess maybe next episode he'll turn back into a rock,
I don't think so.
and then he'll
because we
turn
saw-
into an
No.
orb.
I don't think so because we saw in the preview that he transformed back into the boy again.
Yeah, I know. But I was like, you're trying to be funny. I'm like, maybe he'll just go back. But then after the orb, he just won't exist because after that it's like you don't coexist.
Exactly.
So if he goes besides that, but I guess it's kind of like like when you have memories, it's kind of like that. Like his memory, he remembers when he was a wolf. He remembers when he was probably an orb. He probably remembers, who knows? But that's what I'm thinking. So that's why he was able to turn back into the wolf because he remembers when he was a wolf.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. During final thoughts.
Yeah, so I have a question about that is what made him now think consciously to transform back into the wolf to fight. You know what I mean? It's just like I just want to be more curious about that. Like him, like is he starting to start thinking now? Like when he is this gonna be later on? Like he's gonna keep going back and forth, being a boy and then being a wolf, and then if something else dies, he's gonna morph to something else, like his way of survival, like a survival of the fitness or something like that. And I'm just happy that March is not was not sacrificed, and that she could live on with her sister, her sister, and now the question is what's gonna happen to them now, because
Well,
now
I guess they're going on a journey.
Exactly. And the sad thing is that the parents or whatever, they're never going to know that their kids are still alive.
Yeah, because Hanase, I think that's her name. She said that we're just gonna tell your parents you're dead. You know.
Yeah, and I think it's because they still don't want to break
The tradition.
tradition.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And I think that it's interesting that it kind of broke the rules of their old tradition. That, but in a way, it kind of was a good way, because like it's kind of like sad for, like March would never have grown up if she was been sacrificed.
Exactly.
And now I think we're gonna get a chance to see that probably March is gonna grow up, and I think this is gonna be sad because how long can Fu live? Because Fu is like kind of like seem like immortal.
He is
And who
immortal,
knows-
so if he's immortal, he can live forever.
That's what I'm saying.
But
So
that means he's
Go
going to deal with a lot of sadness too. Once he gets that consciousness of that, So he's probably gonna
Yeah,
see
you're right.
everybody die around him, but he's
Oh
still
damn,
gonna
that's
be around.
that's gonna be sad. I don't want to see that. No.
I think that's what's gonna. I think that's what's gonna happen.
I
I think he
predict that.
goes on this journey. I'm predicting he goes on these journeys, and he spent every like 100 of years. Who knows?
We
Like,
don't know. Yeah,
Of
exactly.
living on this planet, on this earth, and seeing people he meet that they live and they pass on. And I think it's gonna be very sad. I think it's gonna be very sad. It's like kind of like in a way very sad that he's gonna go through that journey, kind of like in that way.
Yeah,
You know?
my final thoughts are, well, this episode was a mindfuck.
Yeah.
those are my final thoughts, but it was very sweet and touching. I like you guys, I'm glad March isn't dead and she gets to bond with Fu, and Panora's going with them, and it's like we'll see where their journey will lead. I mean, and my theory is that there is a face attached to that hand who created the orb. I just want to know who it is.
Me too. I
know.
really would like to know who's this person that created the orb in the first place. So
Yeah.
I'm calling it now. I think it's the narrator.
Oh, maybe.
Whoever
probably the narrator.
whoever the narrator is behind that face, I want to see the narrator. I think it's the narrator. That's my theory.
it had to be whoever's telling the story,
Mhm.
saying from the orb, the rock, to the wolf, to a boy.
Because this narrator isn't like any other narrator that like just summarizes the show. He's watching events unfold.
Yes.
Or what if it's Few?
Maybe.
What if Few's really telling his story, like he somehow got his memories
Maybe
of
That's
what
a
he
good-
originally was?
That's a good theory
No,
too. Again,
maybe.
like I would read the manga, but I want to wait till this first season ends, so that maybe then I'll pick it up. But until then, I'm enjoying this show. Like 3 episodes in, like I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah,
I know, me too. It's getting very interesting.
Yep.
it's very interesting. I'm like, I can't wait for more surprises coming from Few.
Yeah.
Because
same.
like this one, the ending was like the way he said thank you. I'm like, wow, and it wasn't like him in a human form.
No, he said it as a
in
wolf.
Yeah.
form, which that was creepier. I'm like, I wouldn't mind he was the boy and said it, but as the wolf, I was like, okay, this is like some kind of horror movie, like a little bit, like kind of. Not really. It's not really a horror movie, but I mean, it was a kind of creepy way that you have an animal talking
Talking.
like
Yeah.
English to you. I'm like,
Anyways, we hope you guys enjoyed this fun podcast. We'll see you next week for another fun episode.